Hit the button so it's time for a video. And today, the topic of the video I think is going to be about government and lying to people. Now, it's all up in the news now with this WikiLeaks and this Julian Assange and the Amazon scandal and the server and this and that, and everything's flying around really, really fast these days, and I kind of wanted to just take a second and kind of unpack the details of what's going on with the WikiLeaks, with the government, with corporate free speech and all of that. But the gist of it is basically that Amazon owned the server space or web hosting that WikiLeaks was doing, and now because they don't like what's being published on the website, they've chosen to discontinue their web hosting of that server. So I don't know right now if the website is up or not, but it appears that their web hosting from Amazon has been terminated. So a lot of progressives are getting upset, of course, trying to call for a boycott of Amazon, saying that they're bad people, they're restricting free speech, blah, 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 blah. Now, Julian Assange came out with a tweet that said something about how, if Amazon is restricting free speech, they might as well ban book sales, too, on their website, because that would also be a demonstration of censorship. But my conservative friend was kind of annoyed by that comment, because he was trying to say that Julian Assange was drawing all of this sympathy towards himself for what he calls an alleged First Amendment, for these alleged First Amendment violations and all that. Well, just to point out, Julian Assange is not a U.S. citizen, so First Amendment stuff doesn't really apply. We're not talking about the First Amendment. We're just talking about free speech in general. And I kind of find it ironic to berate Julian Assange for making a big deal out of being censored when it's actually the corporations themselves who are allowed to have the greatest free speech in the country and in the world. If you see Citizens United ruling, corporations like Amazon basically can spend whatever they want. They can get foreign donations, they can do anything. Practically, they can get money and spend it on donations pretty much however they please. So it's ironic to say that Julian Assange should not go on the offensive, for assaults on his free speech, when corporations are the ones who are making the most money off of. Though they have the most to gain from the free speech, they have the tangible money that they can send to lobbyists, and that has proven to be the most effective way of getting your message out to the government, is just basically to bribe them, to influence the politicians by giving them campaign donations or what have you, and then having them pay you back once they get back in office. That's the way the American system's always worked, and don't fool yourself trying to think that it's anything different. There needs to be a fundamental change with that, and we gotta throw the bums out. We gotta throw the people who are collecting donations and who are about the corporations. We need to throw them out. And well, that's a side note, but that's basically my conclusion on that issue. Now, as far as government goes, of course, it's not. I don't see it as a stunning revelation that these documents were revealed. They were bound to be revealed at some point, I think, because somehow 1 million people have the confidential clearance, and additional 100,000 people have the secret clearance, so it probably was a matter of time before these were bound to get out anyway. So I don't see that as a stunning revelation, but what I am talking about pretty much with regards to governments and censorship is all of the communication, all of the cables and such are being widely condemned by Hillary Clinton and all of the Republicans saying it's treason, blah 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 blah. These people should do hard time and such, but it really is the government lying to you, and now that they're being exposed, they're trying to cover their asses and saying that the people who expose them are the bad guys. It's not the people who expose them. It's the fact that they've covered up all this information from the American people. And for what reason? They say, oh, it's a diplomatic secret. Well, that's complete bullshit. It's this stuff should be in the open. We should be allowed to investigate and talk about foreign leaders and things like that. We shouldn't have to, have these embarrassing conversations behind people's backs, because they're bound to be revealed anyhow. And we might as well have the news media keeping foreign leaders honest, keeping our diplomats honest, and going through the leaks and actually talking about what they contain and having an honest assessment of how things are fucked up and how government is lying to you. And that's what I want to see from the press. But right now they're basically just sensationalizing the issue, talking about voluptuous breasts and this and that, and they're really skirting around a lot of the things that Noam Chomsky mentioned, for instance, talking about the cables. I believe it was about the Gaza invasion in 2009, early 2009 it was, how basically the U.S. Embassy lied in a lot of their cables in justifying the war and saying that it was some sort of self-defense issue, and that's clearly wrong. It was an act of aggression by Israel against Gaza. They were pissed off at the government, and they wanted to do some collective punishment, and it's wrong. It's wrong-headed, to say the least, and it represents flawed diplomatic techniques. So the diplomats who ended up justifying this should be brought to light. They should be brought to justice, and they should be dismissed from their post and resign in disgrace for supporting basically a theocratic regime such as Israel, and something that a regime that participates in war crimes such as the invasion of Gaza, and justifying that. If you justify something like that, then you deserve to resign and more. It's not the traitor. The real traitor isn't the person who leaked the information. That person is a hero, in my opinion. And we're not going to get into the name calling about who's the virtues of this or that. I'm just saying, the person who leaked the information is not the criminal. The real criminals are the people who are going along with the foreign leaders and saying Israel was justified in doing such and such an action and killing all of these innocent